We tend to think of smoking as a relatively recent human habit, something that began with colonial trade routes or specific ceremonies in the Americas. But the desire to inhale smoke predates agriculture. It predates civilization itself. Roughly 1 million years ago, at a site called Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, Homo erectus achieved something that altered their entire environment. They contained and controlled fire. By bringing flames inside their caves for warmth and cooking, they created the world's first sustained indoor air quality issue. For hundreds of thousands of years, every pre-human who sat near a campfire breathed in smoke. It was an inescapable reality of daily life. These caves were often closed systems, creating a constant, heavy exposure to airborne ash and soot for hours every day. Burning organic matter produces a complex blend of gases and particulates. Depending on the wood or brush thrown into the flames, a fire generates chemical compounds like alkaloids and terpenes, substances that interact directly with the human nervous system. Many plants native to Africa, Europe, and Asia release psychoactive compounds when burned. By sitting downwind of their own campfires, early humans were routinely inhaling these chemicals. They were experiencing physiological shifts and altered mental states long before they had a name for the experience. At some point, an ancestor looked at the fire, remembered that burning a specific bush made them feel different, and chose to burn that bush again. This ability to link a specific plant to a specific mental change is the moment smoke became an intentional tool rather than an accidental byproduct. In the 1980s, psychopharmacologist Ronald Siegel proposed a concept called the intoxication hypothesis. He argued that seeking out altered states of consciousness isn't a modern vice, but a drive deeply wired into mammalian biology. This diagram shows the core of Siegel's theory. We readily accept 3 primary biological drives that ensure survival: hunger, thirst, and sex. Siegel categorized the pursuit of intoxication as a 4th, equally persistent drive that exists across the animal kingdom. We see this drive in action with Siberian reindeer. They will travel across the frozen landscape specifically to find and eat psychoactive Amanita muscaria mushrooms, then wait to drink the urine of others who ate them to recycle the active compounds. If this drive is a hardwired trait, then ancient humans weren't just picking up a bad habit, they were using their intelligence to engineer a reliable way to satisfy a fundamental biological need. The archaeological record confirms that this intentionality goes back much further than we once thought. We are finding physical evidence of human-engineered smoking rituals across multiple continents. In Utah's Great Salt Lake Desert, researchers found a 12,000-year-old hearth. Inside the fire pit were the remains of wild tobacco seeds, carefully and deliberately placed there thousands of years before the invention of pipes or pottery in the region. 5,000 miles away, in the Pamir Mountains of Central Asia, we find evidence of the same behavior from around 500 BC. At a ritual burial site, archaeologists uncovered wooden braziers and superheated stones. These were used to burn cannabis with high THC levels, specifically to facilitate the inhalation of the resulting smoke during funeral rites. This archaeological find perfectly matches the writings of Herodotus, a Greek historian from the 5th century BC. He documented nomadic tribes in Eurasia who performed what he called vapor baths. Herodotus described the Scythians setting up small tents, heating rocks, and throwing hemp seeds onto them. He reported that they would sit inside the enclosed space, inhaling the fumes until they howled with pleasure. From burial mounds in Asia to ancient hearths in the Americas, the evidence is consistent. Intentional smoke inhalation was a developed technology used by sophisticated cultures to achieve specific results. These civilizations utilize smoke according to strict medical and social protocols. The Egyptian Ebers papyrus records specific herbs to be burned and inhaled for lung ailments, while ancient Ayurvedic texts in India detailed a practice called Dhumapana, which required precise preparations for medicinal inhalation. Shared rituals involving psychoactive smoke also served a practical survival function. Modern neurobiology shows that undergoing shared altered states can synchronize neural activity among group members. This synchronization builds the deep, instinctive trust necessary for a tribe to coordinate during a dangerous hunt. For most of our history, smoking was a sacred, highly disciplined infrastructure. It was a tool for medicine and social cohesion, used with a level of control that is the complete opposite of modern casual habits. That relationship changed when European explorers reached the Americas in the late 15th century. They observed indigenous peoples using tobacco, but lacked the cultural framework to understand its ritual significance. The reverence for the plant was quickly stripped away. By the 1800s, tobacco had been stripped of its sacred context and transformed into a fashionable global commodity for the European aristocracy. In the early 20th century, the invention of the industrially manufactured cigarette made tobacco consumption cheaper and more convenient than ever before, removing the last barriers to constant daily use. Modern engineering changed the biology of the habit. Natural tobacco leaves deliver nicotine steadily, but modern cigarettes use chemical additives to ensure a rapid spike in absorption. This maximizes addiction speed, prompting the user to light another. There is a profound gap between an ancient shaman using smoke to connect with the divine and a modern executive signing off on marketing strategies for an addictive product. Both use the same plant, but their intentions are worlds apart. The modern cigarette took a behavior rooted in health and social bonding and redesigned it. By manipulating the chemistry of delivery, the industry turned a 100,000-year-old biological drive into a system of physical dependence and financial extraction. Despite the industrial shift, the core behavior remains. The act of sitting near a fire and paying attention to how the smoke changes us is an unbroken thread of human experience. When you catch a whiff of wood smoke today, you are connecting to the oldest form of human intelligence.